just a few minutes after the meeting finished and drew to a close, I was chatting informally to one of the lead negotiators from an African country, and he seemed a little depressed. Actually, he was kind of saying, we'll have to bring it up again in Cancun, and like the slow progress, and it was exasperation was very much the kind of tone there. But just finally, Florent, before I hand back to London, these set of talks in Bonn, lots of people have been saying that the positive message we can draw from them is that the tone of the talks has been better, much better than Copenhagen. People have been engaging seriously in the negotiations, even if there's issues they don't agree on. They have been discussing these issues. This move here by the OPEC countries to block a technical paper, something as basic and as simple as that, it doesn't really seem in the spirit of reaching an agreement. And do you think it's how does that bode for the talks in the future, and what does it say about the stage of the process that we're at now?
I don't know yet, but what I can say is after these 2 weeks of negotiations is that we have seen progresses on different issues, and I think the most important one is probably on finance. Last week, it was really interesting to look at the states speaking of finance, and it was a progress. I think it was a progress. And the two different texts, LCA and KP, I think are probably in progress, but it's really slow. And even if it's slow, it's better than Copenhagen, because in Copenhagen it was totally blocked. And in the end of Copenhagen, everybody knows what happened with the Copenhagen Accord. And now we have all the parties working together on the same piece of paper, on the same document. And it's more interesting. And I think it shows that we can progress on this process of negotiations. But at the same time, we can see that the position of key countries, unfortunately, like oil countries, does not move. And this position has to move if we want to get this agreement. And if we want even a small agreement in Cancun, this country has to move to help the other one to get this agreement. But I do not think that Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Kuwait or all of these countries want to move, because they're totally dependent on the oil, and they know that if we take strong measures on emission reduction, they will lose a lot of money.
I guess the question then is, the question for these countries, for the OPEC countries, is what are they scared of? What are they worried that this report will find? Because this is just information. This is a technical paper. It wasn't putting forward proposals. It was simply looking to highlight the science and the latest developments. And so, what's their worry?
I was speaking with in the end of this session. I was speaking with a Spanish delegate, a guy from Spain. And he told me, during the dictatorship of Franco, the biggest fear of government was information. And I think I'm not saying that Saudi Arabia or this country are a dictatorship in this process, but I think they want to block all information that could make the process progress. Mm-hmm. And if you cut information, if you avoid information if you avoid the situation be understood by all the party, it means that you will be less interested in moving the process. And I think it's exactly what they try to do. And unfortunately, they managed to do that. And it's what you can see. And I was just going across the conference center, and I've seen the delegate of Saudi Arabia with a big smile. He was really happy because he stopped the process of negotiation.
A bit of a depressing note to finish on. Well, I guess we'll hand back to Anurada and Danny there. It's the tone of the talk seems to have soured a little bit here. Hopefully there's room for optimism. We've been hearing that we may well get what's called a non-paper, basically a kind of informal text from the chair of the talks. So perhaps we'll be able to bring you better news on that later. Florent, I just give you the finishing word.
Yeah, just a last word. What we have seen was it is important, but it's just in Substa. We still have SBI, the subsidiary body on implementation, big issues were discussed yesterday evening. Some progress have been seen, and we still have LCA and KP, and we hope that we are going to see progresses on these two tracks, and I hope we can make a better outcome of this conference, and it's now that we can do that, I hope.
So disappointing development, but there's still room for progress. That's a more
It's the
positive
idea.
note.
It's the idea.
We'll finish on that note. I'll hand back to Anurada and Danny in the UK.